So Rick Wilson was on CNN and he made a joke about Donald Trump, how Donald Trump is ignorant about geography in the world. And Don Lemon lost it and started laughing his head off. And as expected, everyone on the right was so utterly offended by his pleasantries. I'm going to show you the clip and then we'll react to this.
Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience, the credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's the smart one and y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, even though
your math and your reading.
All right, man. Look. The joke with the U and the crane, it's kind of lame. But the Southern accent, that really got me. With your math and your reading. Look, man, I got a ton of friends in the South. Okay, I got friends in Texas and Tennessee and Kentucky. I can assure you, they would have all found that shit hilarious. All right, I can promise you that. So that was the funniest part. Now, for those of you who don't know Rick Wilson, the guy who was actually making the joke, he used to be a strategist for the GOP, for the Republican Party. But where's the lie? Where's the lie about Donald Trump being ignorant about geography and his administration being ignorant about geography in the world? This isn't a lie. If you look at the things that Trump has said on Twitter, in statements at the White House, in public, he has no knowledge of geography whatsoever, and it's really, really embarrassing. I can just remember off the top of my head, like he keeps confusing Russia with the Soviet Union. Okay, you could argue that because he's very old now and the Cold War. Okay, but then he also confuses the Baltics with the Balkans, and he doesn't understand time zones. He keeps wanting to call people who are on the other side of the planet leaders that are asleep while he's up, and he doesn't grasp that it's night where they are. And then he also thought Paris was in Germany once. I don't know how to explain that one. I really don't. And then he also thought that Nepal and Bhutan are inside India. He doesn't grasp that they are actually individual independent countries. And he also pronounces them nipple and button. These are just a few examples. There are so many, I can't even name them. Okay, there are really too many. It's embarrassing. I sometimes think they must be fake, and then I look at it and, it's actually a tweet that Trump actually posted, and I'm just like, it's really, really embarrassing. So that joke he made is nothing that's not anchored in reality. Now, of course, the RNC, they actually made an ad out of this, and you had people on Fox News, on The Five, offended by it too. And even on The Hill, on Rising, the pundits that they brought on seemed to be very offended at, I can't have that talking like that. So let's take a look at what they said on Rising. And I mean, it's, get ready.
Don Lemon kind of just, laughing it up at the idea that people could vote for Trump. And I think, tie it to this. They think the same thing. It's not just Trump supporters. It's anybody who isn't of their elite cohort. And I think that's exactly really disgusting about it.
Yeah, the CNN segment shows exactly what the elites of America think about the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. They think they're dumb. They think they're incapable of governing themselves. But it's rude and it's offensive and it's just wrong. Contrast that with somebody like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He understands that there is anger at this elite who has told us for decades that they know what's right. And they're consistently wrong. People like Don Lemon and Rick Wilson.
Let me get this straight. You went from Donald Trump not knowing where Ukraine is on a map to Trump supporters not being able to govern themselves. How on earth did you make that reach? What kind of a connection is that? You said that, not Rick Wilson or Don Lemon. You did. Unbelievable. And he talks about this joke being so rude and offensive. You know what's rude and offensive? Locking up children in cages. You know what's rude and offensive? Bombing my fucking country. You know what's rude and offensive? Rolling back protections for the environment. You know what's rude and offensive? Giving billions of dollars to the military-industrial complex. You know what's rude and offensive? Giving enormous tax cuts and making them permanent to the rich. That's fucking offensive. Not a joke about a crane that a 10-year-old could have made because it's so lame. What is your threshold for rude and offensive? That's your threshold? When you use terms like rude and offensive for the most mundane and senile of things, they no longer carry any weight, do they? So explain this to me. In what realm, in what universe, did you make the calculation that Donald Trump is not the elite? All he has done since getting into office, all his administration has done is serve the elite. When he was on the campaign trail, he was talking about the middle class and bringing back jobs in manufacturing. And then he lets Nissan and Ford close all their plants and move to Mexico with no repercussions. And he was talking about not cutting Social Security. And then as soon as he gets in office, him and Paul Ryan, they try to cut Social Security and they try to throw millions of people off of their health care. How is that not catering to the elite? How does that help the middle class? Explain that one to me. People got duped. And there's tons and tons and tons of Trump supporters telling you, yeah, I got played by voting for that dude. And they're still in their closed down factories with no jobs in the Rust Belt. All he's done, Donald Trump, since getting into office, is serve the establishment, giving them enormous tax cuts, making them permanent, and letting the private sector, private companies in the healthcare industry, in the military industrial complex, in the prison industrial complex, continue to make enormous profits and gains. And when he also said, I'm not going to bomb the Middle East, and then he creates an enormous budget and then keeps bombing the Middle East. You got played, man. You got played. Donald Trump is a fraud. Donald Trump played you. All he has done is serve the elite. So don't be too worried about Don Lemon, who's an anchorman on CNN, laughing about a lame joke that Rick Wilson made. That is not your problem. Okay? Your problem is the guy who's sitting in the Oval Office and chooses to do nothing to improve the lives of millions of working class Americans who voted for him. Okay? That's your real problem. And it's frankly amazing. You know, people on the right, conservatives, especially online, they're always calling lefties snowflakes. Oh, you're such snowflakes. It's just a joke, bro. And usually their joke involves some amount of racism in it. It's just a joke, bro. Don't be such a snowflake, bro. Well, who's the snowflake now? Who's the snowflake now? You got offended over a lame joke that a 10-year-old could have made? I thought you're thick-skinned, man. What's up with that? I thought you're a tough guy, man. I thought nothing phases you, man. Why are you being such a snowflake, man? What's up with that? Fucking hypocrites, man. It really amazes me, you know?
And the president is fighting back, saying, quote, Don Lemon, the dumbest man on television with terrible ratings, end quote. Ivanka Trump calling the clip disgusting. So, Greg, does this is this one of those moments where the media left show their bias against a large chunk of the country?
Well, using a Southern accent to mimic somebody who apparently is dumb and doesn't read is really offensive. I mean, people come from different regions of the country. You have accents from people from all over the world. It has nothing to do with your intelligence. It has to do with where you were raised. And so that I think is offensive.
Yeah, how many surgeons have Southern accents? I'm pretty sure 1 million.
Yeah, that's why I don't make sweeping generalizations about large groups of people, Greg.
Thank you, Jesse.
It's just
really?
not right.
Is that like today, starting now?
Starting
and it was
now.
a New Year's resolution.
That's right. I'm not that offended by it, and I'm not offended on behalf of someone by that. But, you know, I'm usually the one that offends other people. So stay out of my lane. No, I'm just kidding. No, but so I have a unique understanding of the situation. The two guys.
Also, it's really funny watching Fox get offended over making fun of someone's accent when, you know, they consistently marginalize minorities, make them out to be like some alien force that's coming to invade Americans and nice little white families. Okay, that's really rich coming from a network that profits off of racism and making fun of minorities. That's really something. Wow. The pot calling the kettle black once again. Just to reiterate, this whole joke was about how Donald Trump is geographically illiterate. Even in 2015 or 2016, you had a paper coming out about how his speeches, how he speaks, is reminiscent of the way a 12-year-old speaks. He has a 12-year-old's level of English. That's the height of his command of the language. That's all he has. That's him. That's Donald Trump. So it is no wonder that he's equally illiterate when it comes to geography, and embarrassingly so. Okay? It's not just one gaffe or two gaffes or even 5 gaffes. It's dozens. Really, really embarrassing stuff. So this joke is very reflective of that and makes perfect sense. And it's really weird that they're trying to make this about Trump supporters when it's clearly about Trump. They're just trying to create this false outrage on Fox and elsewhere to rile up and galvanize Trump supporters. Be like, you say he's talking about y'all. No, he's not. He's talking mostly about Orange Cheeto Man. Okay? Just what a ridiculous controversy. You know, when I was watching all of this, I couldn't believe that there are so many people offended by this and trying to make it out to be some kind of abysmal, abhorrent affront on the person of Donald Trump and his supporters. Oh my God. The calamity. What an atrocity. I mean, like I said, my favorite part was the Southern accent. He's going like, with their math and their reading, with their books, their spelling. I'm sorry, but that was hilarious. I got mad love for the South. I got tons of friends there. So, you know, and I'm pretty sure they would find this shit hilarious too. But anyway, this was really ridiculous. I can't believe people are getting offended over this. And unfortunately, I had to cover it because it was just so absolutely silly. You know, just like the joke itself. I mean, that joke he made was silly at best. It's not rude and offensive. It's silly. And by the way, this is in no way a defense of CNN in any capacity. I mean, CNN can go to hell. All right, after what they've done to Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders consistently over the years, trying to smear them and attack them. Nah, they can go to hell, man. No one cares about CNN. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that very quickly. And I hope it brightened your day to see how soft conservatives really are.